He stood at the counter, check in hand, a black CEO whose name commanded respect in boardrooms across the country. She, the bank manager, glared at him with unconcealed disdain, her fingers twitching as she snatched the check from his grip. In one swift, deliberate motion, she tore it to pieces, letting the scraps flutter to the floor in front of a stunned crowd. Gasps echoed through the bank. Seconds later, her smug expression faltered as a single phone call unraveled her career. This is the story of a moment that exposed prejudice, sparked outrage, and delivered swift justice. Wherever you're reading this, whether in New York, London, Chicago, or beyond, share this story. Let it spark conversations about accountability and justice in your city. What would you have done if you witnessed this scene unfold? He was Marcus Ellis, a 42-year-old CEO of Horizon Innovations, a tech firm that had just secured a $50 million contract with a major global retailer. Marcus had built his company from a small startup in Atlanta to a powerhouse employing hundreds, with offices in 3 states. That morning, he walked into First National Bank's downtown Atlanta branch to deposit a check, a substantial one, tied to his company's latest deal. Dressed in a tailored navy suit, he carried himself with the quiet confidence of someone who'd earned his place. The bank was busy, with tellers bustling and customers filling the lobby. Marcus approached the counter, where she, Deborah Klein, the branch manager, was overseeing operations. Deborah, 50, had worked at First National for over 2 decades. Known for her strict adherence to protocol, she prided herself on running a tight ship. To her, the bank was her domain, and she wielded her authority with an iron grip. Colleagues described her as efficient but cold, quick to judge and slow to trust. That day, she was already in a foul mood, having dealt with a series of minor issues: a malfunctioning ATM, a late employee, and a customer complaint. When Marcus stepped forward, check in hand, their worlds collided in a way neither could have anticipated. Marcus handed the check to the teller, a young woman named Sarah, who'd been with the bank for just 6 months. The check, made out to Horizon Innovations for $3 million, was legitimate, drawn from a reputable corporate account. Sarah, following procedure, flagged it for manager approval due to the amount. Deborah approached, her eyes narrowing as she took in Marcus, his suit, his calm demeanor, and the check in her teller's hand. Something about him set her off, though no one could say exactly what. Perhaps it was the confidence in his posture, or maybe it was something deeper, something uglier. Deborah took the check, her lips pursed. "This is a large sum," she said, her tone clipped. "We'll need to verify it." Marcus nodded, unfazed, "Of course. I can provide any documentation you need." But Deborah wasn't listening. She held the check up, inspecting it as if it were a counterfeit bill. The lobby grew quieter as customers and tellers sensed the tension. "This doesn't look right," she declared, loud enough for those nearby to hear. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "It's a corporate check, drawn from our account with this bank. You can confirm it with a call." Her eyes flicked to him, sharp and accusing. "I don't think so," she said. "We get people trying to pass bad checks all the time. I'm not falling for it." Her words carried a sting, and Marcus's jaw tightened. "Ma'am, I'm the CEO of Horizon Innovations. That check is valid. You can check our account history, same bank, same branch." Deborah's face hardened. "CEO," she scoffed, her voice dripping with skepticism. "You expect me to believe that?" She held the check higher, turning it so others could see. "This is probably fake, just like the story." The lobby was silent now, all eyes on them. Sarah, the teller, shifted uncomfortably, unsure whether to intervene. Marcus kept his voice steady, though anger simmered beneath. "Call your corporate office. Verify the account. I'm not here to play games." But Deborah wasn't backing down. She leaned forward, her voice rising. "I don't need to call anyone. I know a fraud when I see one." Then, in a move that shocked everyone, she gripped the check with both hands and tore it in half, then quarters, letting the pieces fall to the floor. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A woman in line clutched her purse, whispering to her husband. A man recording on his phone zoomed in, capturing every second. Marcus stood frozen, his expression a mix of disbelief and fury. "You just destroyed a $3 million check," he said, his voice low but carrying the weight of a storm. "That was a mistake." Deborah smirked, crossing her arms. "If it's real, you'll get another one. If not, you're lucky I didn't call the police." Her words hung heavy, laced with an arrogance that made the onlookers bristle. Marcus didn't flinch. He pulled out his phone, dialed a number, and said, "This is Marcus Ellis. I need to speak with Richard Howell now." Richard Howell was the regional director for First National Bank, overseeing all branches in the Southeast. Marcus had met him at a business conference 2 years prior, and they'd stayed in touch. As Marcus spoke, his voice calm but firm, Deborah's confidence began to waver. She glanced at the crowd, noticing the phones pointed at her, the murmurs growing louder. Sarah, the teller, whispered to a colleague, "She shouldn't have done that." On the phone, Marcus explained the situation briefly. "I'm at your downtown Atlanta branch. Your manager just tore up a $3 million check from my company's account, called me a fraud in front of everyone, and refused to verify it. I need this handled." Howell's response was immediate. "Stay there. I'm calling the branch now." Within minutes, the phone at the manager's station rang. Deborah answered, her face paling as Howell's voice came through. "Deborah, what the hell is going on? I have Marcus Ellis on the line saying you destroyed a valid check." She stammered it. "It looked suspicious, sir. I was protecting the bank." Howell cut her off. "You didn't verify it. You didn't follow protocol, and you humiliated a client. Stay where you are." The crowd was buzzing now, sensing the tide turning. Marcus stood calmly, his phone still in hand, as Deborah tried to justify herself to Howell. "He didn't look like a CEO," she said, her voice faltering. "I thought—" Howell interrupted, his tone icy. "You thought wrong. I'm on my way." As Deborah hung up, she avoided Marcus's gaze. The crowd's whispers grew bolder. Some called her out directly. "That was racist." A woman muttered. "She wouldn't have done that to someone else," said another. Deborah's hands trembled as she realized the gravity of her actions. The video, now circulating on X, was gaining traction with comments flooding in. "This is disgusting. Fire her. Justice for Marcus." Howell arrived within the hour, his face grim. He approached Marcus first, shaking his hand. "I'm sorry, Marcus. This should never have happened." Then he turned to Deborah. "In my office now." The crowd watched as she followed, her head down, her authority stripped away. Behind closed doors, Howell didn't mince words. "You embarrassed the bank, disrespected a client, and acted on bias instead of evidence. You're done here." By the end of the day, Deborah Klein was no longer employed at First National Bank. The termination was swift, driven by the undeniable evidence of her actions, captured on video and corroborated by witnesses. Marcus, ever composed, accepted Howell's apology and a promise to reissue the check with additional compensation for the inconvenience. Horizon Innovations' account was flagged for priority handling moving forward. The story didn't end there. The video went viral, amassing millions of views on X and sparking heated debates about racial bias, accountability, and power dynamics. Marcus released a statement. "This wasn't just about a check. It was about being judged before I could speak. I hope this moment teaches us to listen, verify, and respect." Deborah faced her own reckoning. Her name trended alongside hashtags like #justice for Marcus and #bankbias. Some defended her, claiming she was just doing her job. But the majority condemned her actions as rooted in prejudice. She issued a public apology, but it did little to quell the outrage. Her career in banking was effectively over. For those reading this, whether in Los Angeles, London, or Lagos, let this story be a call to action. Speak up when you see injustice. Share this account to keep the conversation alive. What would you do if you saw this happen in your city? Post your thoughts, tag your friends, and let's demand accountability everywhere.